This is Bot City, and I'm Jet West. Today on the show, federal fusion centers across the country are quietly flagging town hall attendance as potential extremism. We're talking about 80 different locations building databases on Americans just for showing up to local government meetings. A nonprofit posted a YouTube video about a data center in Georgia. The video described the project's effects on nearby residents: noise, water use, power draw. No calls to action beyond civic engagement. No threats. Nothing that any reasonable person would call incitement. Site Intelligence, a contractor with federal law enforcement, flagged it as a potential threat vector and circulated it to fusion centers across the country. It is now sitting in intelligence files alongside reports on groups charged with murder. That is not the fringe of what's happening. That is the center of it. More than 1,000 pages of unpublished DHS, FBI, and Fusion Center reports were obtained by Wired. And what they show is a surveillance architecture that expanded faster than the violence it was supposedly tracking. The violence is real. Let's be precise about that because precision matters here. A 20-year-old from Texas allegedly threw a Molotov cocktail at Sam Altman's house in San Francisco. Days later, 2 people shot at the same address. An Indiana city councilman who voted for a data center was shot. Jennifer Zink, the treasurer of Saline Township in Michigan, stood at a township meeting and said out loud, "I'm submitting my resignation effective May 29th. I can't take it anymore. The threats, the I'm gonna tar and feather you." She resigned over a proposed Oracle and OpenAI data center. She is a municipal treasurer in Michigan. Those are facts. Those events happen. The people responsible for the violence and threats should face consequences for it. None of that is complicated. What is complicated is the 1,000 pages. Hundreds of organizations across 42 states have organized to block data center construction. That number comes from Data Center Watch, run by 10A Labs, and it represents something that is genuinely hard to do: a bipartisan infrastructure backlash moving faster than the infrastructure itself. Data centers are low-profile industrial construction projects. They don't generate organized resistance the way pipelines or highways do. People don't feel them the same way. But it turns out that if you move enough water, pull enough power off the local grid, and run the cooling systems loud enough, people do feel them. And residents across the country figured that out without any national organization, without any central leadership, without a single coordinating body. They just showed up at budget meetings. 6 states, including California, Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, Oklahoma, and Wisconsin, have seen police remove or arrest speakers at town halls before those speakers were allowed to testify. Not after, before. So on one side, you have people showing up to budget meetings. On the other side, you have 80 federally networked fusion centers deciding that showing up to a budget meeting is a data point worth collecting. The term the intelligence community has landed on is anti-tech violent extremism. Here is something worth sitting with. That phrase does not appear in any publicly available DHS or FBI domestic extremism guide. It exists in these internal reports. It has no published definition. It has no published threshold for what qualifies. That absence of a definition is not a bureaucratic gap. It is the mechanism. When a category has no published operational definition, it can be applied to whatever fits the need of the moment. And the need of the moment, per Trump's National Security Presidential Memo 7, is targeting people who hold what the document describes as anti-American, anti-Christian, and anti-capitalism beliefs. Sebastian Gorka's counterterrorism strategy names left-wing extremists as one of the three top domestic priorities. Anti-tech opposition is being routed into that framework. The research circulating inside fusion centers nationally comes partly from a University of Bath lecturer named Mauro Lubrano, who wrote a book on the rise of anti-tech extremism. Lubrano was careful. He identifies three distinct strains of actual violent extremism, including groups connected to European infrastructure attacks. He also said explicitly in print that anti-tech violence should not be used as an excuse to securitize AI and emerging technologies, thereby silencing those who are critical of the current trajectory. His work is being used in exactly the way he warned against. The NYPD Intelligence Bureau's report goes somewhere even stranger. It warns that paranoid views regarding AI may spread in the wake of the Zizian trial. The Zizians, to be specific, are a small extreme rationalist group allegedly led by someone named Ziz Leota, three of whose members have been charged with murder connected to AI existential risk ideology. The ideology involves a belief that a godlike AI is imminent and that humans must align themselves with it. This is a cult. 3 people have been charged with murder. That is serious. The NYPD report then notes, almost in passing, that a less extreme version of the same fears surrounding the cataclysmic potential of AI are a common concern among AI alignment experts, machine learning engineers, and even frontier AI companies, which is true. OpenAI has an alignment team. Anthropic was founded specifically because of concerns about AI safety and existential risk. The people at DeepMind who work on alignment hold some version of the view that advanced AI requires careful management or it could go wrong in serious ways. The NYPD Intelligence Bureau has now formally described that concern as a precursor ideology to extremism. Sam Altman runs a company whose research team publishes alignment work and whose stated mission involves navigating existential risk from AI. His house was firebombed by someone who, according to reports, had a Substack full of anti-AI screeds. He is also the person who told an interviewer that if AI steals jobs, maybe those jobs weren't real in the first place. I am not saying that comment caused the firebombing. I am saying that the distance between your job wasn't real and they have paranoid views about AI is smaller than the intelligence reports suggest. The structural issue that Wise reporting surfaces and then treats as background is the one that actually matters. Domestic terrorism in the United States is not a standalone crime. Law enforcement can apply terrorism-level surveillance authorities without ever bringing terrorism charges. That means the surveillance is real, the Fusion Center files are real, the open source contractor bulletins are real, and none of it requires a prosecution to justify its existence. Spencer Reynolds at the NAACP Legal Defense Fund put it plainly. These intelligence reports are part of a long tradition of agencies identifying protest or even simply having strong opinions as precursors to violence. He named Black Lives Matter, Occupy Wall Street, and environmental movements as predecessors. The pattern is consistent enough to be a policy. What is new this time is the speed of the predicate. The grassroots data center opposition is genuinely fast. Moratoriums and bans from Maine to California passed by residents who are not ideologues. They are people who noticed that a data center was pulling water from their local supply and generating noise at 3 a.m. The surveillance apparatus caught up to them in months. Jennifer Zink is gone from her job. A nonprofit's YouTube video is in a federal file. Photographers at protests are being flagged for suspicious activity under indicators that include observation and photography. And anti-tech violent extremism, a term with no published definition and no published threshold, is now a live domestic surveillance category attached to a White House directive about anti-capitalism. The firebombing was real. The resignation and tears was real. The murder charges are real. None of that is being disputed. The question is whether a YouTube video about Georgia residents' water supply is the same kind of real. And the answer that 1,000 pages of unpublished intelligence reports gives you is close enough. I'm Jet West in Bot City. Keep bussin'.
Grab news. Thomas.